I know this is a lot of information. Y'all probably didn't know all this because I don't talk about it. It's so commonplace to me, honestly, because I've lived with this my whole life.
It's LeahMouseVlog, LeahMouseVlog, it's LeahMouse's vlog.
Hello, people of YouTube and surrounding territories. Okay, I've come to terms with the stupid pink on top. It doesn't look that bad, especially when I have it up in my clip. It's like, all right. Because it's kind of a purple pink. It's not like a Barbie pink, you know what I mean? So, it works. I got the Scrapmaster 5000 up here with me today. He's all curled up in a little sweet ball. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Hi. Who's your handsome boy? So what's been going on with you guys? I really want to know. Tell me what's been going on with you, how you're doing, what kinds of things you're getting into these days. Just seen any good movies, read any good books, seen any good television series, had any good soups? Well, I'll tell you what, I have read a good book lately. Yeah, I devoured this thing. It was on back order because it was sold out for a long time, but I finally got it a few days ago. Don't remember which day it was, but I definitely read this thing cover to cover within 2 days, okay? 2 days, I devoured this thing. You guys hear about this one? The one by Jeanette McCurdy, I'm Glad My Mom Died. Yeah. And if you haven't heard of this, I know the title's a little bit shocking, but trust me, it has its context. I read this thing, I just finished it last night. Holy crap, it's so good. I just could not put it down. I sacrificed sleep and lots of other things that I definitely should have been doing instead to read this thing. It was awesome, highly recommended. If you're interested in reading it or thinking about reading it or not sure. Hi, Watson. Aw, I've been joined by a little bear. Hi, sweetheart. Aww. You want to sit on my lap and hang out? Yes? She's looking at Scrappy. Yeah, she doesn't like Scrappy too much. Oh, you're so sweet. Yes, you're so sweet, my sweet little Watson bear. Oh, dear. Everybody has to make a cameo in this vlog, don't they? Yes. Oh, my sweet little Punim. Anyway, if you were thinking about picking up that book or, already did, like it's an awesome read, trust me, it really is. I know the title is shocking, but it's like, it has its place. It definitely has its context, because by the end of the book you're gonna be like, dang, I'm glad her mom died too. Shit. Also, another thing, I started watching a show called Abbott Elementary. I don't know if y'all have heard of that one. I hadn't heard of it until I watched Family Feud. I love game shows. I love game shows. Give me all the game shows. Do you have any idea how happy I am that they brought back To Tell the Truth and Password? Those are old game shows that I used to watch with my dad, actually, like on Game Show Network. The old black and white ones, like with Betty White on the panel, on the original panel, like when she was young and virile. And they brought back Match Game as well, which I used to watch all the time. I don't like that Alec Baldwin is hosting it. I am not a fan of Alec Baldwin, but he does a good job hosting it, so whatever. I'm digressing like crazy, but that's what I do. That's what I do, haha. So, game shows, right. We were watching an episode of Family Feud. And the family is like Celebrity Family Feud. So the family on one side was the cast from Abbott Elementary. And I'd never heard of it before, but these people seemed funny and they were really smart and they seemed cool. And then I happened to see on Hulu, Abbott Elementary was sitting there. And I was like, I remember the show from that Family Feud thing, so I'm gonna watch it. I like it, it's really good. It's basically like The Office, but in an elementary school. It's shot very, very similar to The Office. I've seen 2 episodes of The Office. Not a fan. Don't crucify me. I'm sorry. We all have preferences. Yeah, but I don't know. Something about the way they did this. It's really funny. It's not over the top funny. They don't try too hard. Like, I don't know. It's just funny. It's very enjoyable. So if you want a new series to check out, I recommend Abbott Elementary. It's quite good. Especially if you like The Office. If you like The Office, you'll like this. And even if you don't, you still might, because that's me. So there's a couple things I wanted to talk about, a couple things I have on my mind. It wasn't enough for pajama talk. I mean, I guess this could be pajama talk. I mean, I am in pajamas. I mean, like, I'm always in pajamas these days. It's like the bane of my existence right now is being bored and in pajamas. I'm still waiting on this job thing to go through. Well, I guess I'm not technically employed there yet, but like paperwork has to go through first before I can specifically be employed. But I mean, I have the job. I'm just waiting on all this stuff and it's taking a while. I'm just waiting it out and stuff. So anyway, the first thing I guess I wanted to talk about with that is one of the things that's holding up the process is I have to submit paperwork for a disability. This is the first time that I've said it out loud other than to the nurse on the phone who called me to talk about it. It's weird admitting that I have a disability. Oh boy, I don't like saying it. I don't like to think of it as a disability. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I am not talking about the autism thing. I did tell her technically, you know, that qualified, because she asked me about any mental health issues or whatever, and I told her that. And I was like, but, you know, it's not anything that's going to interfere with anything. Like, I function just fine, you know, in life. Well, just fine as far as my own terms go, I guess. And she was like, wow, I never would have known. You're really great on the phone. And I was like, you just made my day. Now, the disability that I'm talking about is my scoliosis, actually. And I've had scoliosis, as far as I know, my whole life. I don't know. They found it when I was 11 or 12. Because I got into a car accident with my mom because somebody rear-ended us and she picked me up from school and we were driving, and I remember it was snowing and all of a sudden we both like flew forward, but we had our seatbelts on so we were fine. And then we looked in the rearview mirror and there was like this big thing like in the back we couldn't see out, and we thought it was a snowplow at first because it was snowing, because it was winter. And it turns out the guy had hit us so hard that his hood flew up, and that's what we were seeing. So we pulled off to the side of the road. This is actually kind of a funny story now that I think about it, so I'll just tell you the story. We pulled him on the side of the road. I think I got like a bloody lip from it or all because my face whacked into the freaking dash or whatever. So, but I did have my seatbelt on. I didn't go flying through the windshield because I definitely flew back too. And we were both fine, you know, it was just the car that was damaged. So my mom gets out and she was so angry. Like, you guys know Mama Mouse, okay? You know her, she's adorable, she's a sweetheart, she's wonderful, she's beautifully weird. But when she is mad, you better run for the hills. That you do not want to piss off this woman. Okay, so she was really pissed off about this guy, like just plowing into the back of our car, you know, and she was worried about me and everything because I was just a kid. So she gets out and I went with her. So I remember the look on this guy's face. She approached his driver's side door. He rolled his window down and she just lit into him like something fierce. I don't remember what she said at all. I just remember his face because she was yelling at him so bad. And I just remember him going, he just like shrank down and he just looked terrified. He was like a middle-aged guy, maybe in his 30s, something like that. And he just looked terrified. He just shrank down in the thing. And then what he ended up doing was he opened up the passenger door to his car and took off running up the field or whatever. And I think my mom had to like go to the nearest neighbor's house there, or maybe they came out. I don't really remember. This was way before cell phones, so that was back when you had to like knock on someone's door and be like, can I use your phone?
Brad, let's go back. I'm cold and I'm frightened.
Just a moment, Janet. They may have a phone. Hello. Your phone we might use?
Yeah, just like that. So, you know, the police came and everything. Since the guy had taken off, you know, they couldn't talk to him. But they told my mom, like, okay, we're gonna go after this guy, you know, and they followed his snowy footprints. You know, who tries to escape in the snow, right? How stupid is that? But they followed his footprints and they caught him and they brought him back. So, apparently, this guy was on the run. And the reason that he hit us so hard was because he was in a hurry to get away, because apparently he had just finished beating someone nearly to death with like a tire iron. And he was wanted for like assault, like battery, you know, he was really violent and stuff. And he was like on drugs or something too. And I still remember his name. I'm not gonna say it, but I still remember his name to this day, which is just weird. The fact that he was this violent guy who just, it was like on drugs, who just beat this guy within an inch of his life with a freaking tire iron. And he was scared of my mom. That cracks me up. Like, and mom had no idea, obviously, or she wouldn't have approached him, you know, and then cops were like, oh my God, you were so lucky because he's this violent guy. But they caught him and they cuffed him and they put him in the cop car and everything. But like, oh my God, it was just like the funniest thing. My mom is scary when she gets mad. I'm telling you, man. So that's just proof of that right there. That was that story. So the scoliosis, they assessed us both for injuries from the car accident, right? Because they do that. The doctor found my scoliosis. He's like, oh, her spine is curved. And it wasn't a result of the accident. I mean, it was present. It was already there. It was substantially, like, you know, progressed into scoliosis by that point, you know. So I don't know if I had it from birth or what, but so that's when they found it. I started going to chiropractors, and they put me on like weightlifting and stuff to strengthen my muscles because I was still growing, and they're like, we have to halt the curve, you know, nip it in the bud. So I've been literally lifting weights since I was a child, which explains why I've got Hulk arms. I don't know if I've ever showed you guys my arms or if you've seen them, but yeah, I've got some muscly arms for a girl. And I don't even do anything. I don't continually lift weights. They just kind of are that way. They were conditioned from a young age. Sorry, I'm picking at my fingers when I'm looking at off screen. We actually went to a specialist, I think it was in Cleveland, and this is still when I was 12, and they were saying that my curve was so bad. I have an S curve. And in fact, I'll pop a picture of my spine up here. I've showed it to you guys before, but in case you're new here or don't remember, then I will show you. This is my spine. It is delightfully, wonderfully S-y and curvy, and yay Slytherin. See, that's how Slytherin I am. That's how dedicated I am. I have an S for a spine, for Slytherin, the snake. But they said that it was severe enough that they wanted to put rods. They wanted to do surgery and put rods in my back, you know. Mom wouldn't allow it, and I'm grateful. I don't think I would have appreciated that. And surgery when you're a kid is terrifying enough. So, and as an adult, I don't think that I would appreciate having rods in my back even now. So we opted out of that, and then they wanted to put me in a back brace. The back brace, I mean, it was like molded to my body. Like they took a mold, I don't know, a cast. Yeah, they took a cast of like my torso, and this thing, I don't know what it was made out of, but for me, it was just like a hard plastic thing. And it went from like right underneath my boobs all the way to like my pelvis. And I wanted to try it for cheerleading that year. I remember I wanted to be a cheerleader, or I was already in cheerleading or something. And my mom was like, yeah, well, she's a cheerleader. Can she cheerlead in this thing? And they were like, oh yeah, you just wear it under your clothes. You know, you can do everything that you can normally do in it. You know, it doesn't restrict anything. It just, you know, sort of braces and holds your spine or whatever. And I'm just like, this doesn't seem right. So they put the thing on once they got it made to my specifications. I could not even breathe in that thing. It was like the worst corset in the world because there was no give, because it was hard, it was stiff, you know, it was designed to like hold things in place. And I was just sitting there, and I was a pudgy kid, so like I had fat crammed all up in there, you know, and I couldn't even breathe in this damn thing. I'm like, you telling me that I could cheerlead in this or do anything that I normally could? I can't even breathe. Like, this is so uncomfortable. So we nixed that, didn't have the back brace. So basically we just kind of stuck to the weightlifting and the chiropractor thing. I was seeing a chiropractor every day after school for something like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years or something. And we bounced around to a few different specialists and chiropractors too as needed, but then we found one that was good and I saw him frequently. So, and then throughout the years, you know, it has been what it has been. I remember I used to get a lot of pain up here in this shoulder blade. That was my problem area when I was younger. It hurt constantly. It was just like this burning, searing, ripping sort of pain just constantly on this right shoulder blade. And I remember once my left shoulder blade hurt instead of my right one, like once for one day. And I was so happy to just experience a moment where this side wasn't hurting and this one was. Just having the pain shift from one side to the other just for a day was such a relief. It's so weird. But yeah, okay, even talking about it is like making my shoulder hurt. But yeah, that used to be my problem area. And then somewhere in, I want to say 2012 or 13, the pain shifted to my lower back. I had a really bad lower back pain and there was nothing up here anymore. I guess I strengthened my muscles enough that it, like, I don't know, held itself together, or it, like the nerves died. I don't know. But lower back started hurting, and it wasn't like you know, your typical like, ah, my lower back, it hurts, ouch. No, it's this, and it's still my problem area, even 10 years later now. It's this excruciating pain in like, sort of right in my pelvis area. It's usually on my right side. Sometimes it's on my left, sometimes it's both. It's usually my right though. Like my right side seems to be the crappy one. Oh yeah, and then also when I was a kid, I had to wear a heel lift in my left shoe because I guess that's the side that I like lean towards, which would explain why my right side hurts the most. I had to wear a heel lift in just one of my shoes, my left shoe. Yeah, so yeah, anyway, so my lower back is the problem now. It's right at the base of my spine, sort of like where my spine and pelvis sort of meet. It's right in like the little kind of nubbin area, if you know what I'm talking about, like right above my butt. There are these two nubbins that you're supposed to have. And that's the other thing. My scoliosis makes my body so misshapen that my weight distribution is all cruddy. And a couple of chiropractors told me that like you're gonna have leg problems later on, and I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And they're like, well, yeah, because your weight distribution isn't even because of how your spine is. Like it's kind of, scoliosis isn't like a curved spine, it's more like a rotated spine, if that makes sense. Like the spine is mostly shaped how it's supposed to be, at least in my case. There's all kinds of different types of scoliosis. There's the S curve and then there's the C curve, which is a really bad one. Mine is like shaped weird and it's rotated, so like the ribs on my left side stick out more. So if I lay on my stomach on a hard surface, it hurts my left ribs because they protrude. My shoulders are uneven because of it too, and so my legs are uneven because I'm like twisted. So the weight distribution is different, so the muscles in my legs are worked differently, I guess, if that makes sense. Like it's not even distribution between like my muscles and my legs. So I have a lot of problems with my left leg. It goes numb a lot. I have problems with my knee. That knee is really bad. It like locks up a lot when I'm sleeping if I bend it. Like it actually happened this morning before I woke up and I couldn't move for like a half an hour because my knee was locked up. But yeah, my left leg, and like if I'm on my feet for too long, my legs get noodly, especially my left leg. Like it's like, hey, I'm gonna give out if you keep standing here. And it's been like 2 minutes, you know, and it gets noodly and I have to like, you know, sit down. I will literally sit down on the floor if I'm in line somewhere, like at a gas station or grocery store or something. If I have to, I will sit down on the floor. I don't care who's watching. It's like, I can't afford to have my legs give out on me right now. So, I mean, I know this is a lot of information. Y'all probably didn't know all this because I don't talk about it. It's so commonplace to me, honestly, because I've lived with this my whole life. I don't really think about it being unusual. It's sort of like the autism stuff, you know? It's so me. I didn't realize it was not normal. This, I realize it's not normal, but like, I have no idea what it feels like to not have back pain or leg problems and stuff. It's just so commonplace to me. I don't think about it. I don't think about talking about it or addressing it or anything. It just is. It's something that I have to deal with and live with, you know? So, the lower back thing is excruciating. It's absolutely excruciating, and I wish that it was the shoulder blade again. I really wish it was that, because this is so stupid. So what I have, and I'm probably mispronouncing this, but it is called spondylolisthesis. As far as I can tell, that's how you pronounce it. And I actually have 3 other things in addition to the scoliosis and the spondylolisthesis, but I can't remember what they're called. They're very clinical things. Basically, I have an extra vertebrae where no vertebrae should be. I don't know if it's split or something, but there's like a disc or vertebrae like kind of over top of like where it should be. And that's what causes the back pain. And also at the base of my spine, you have the little thingies that go out to the sides, right? Well, at the very bottom, I've got my one going this way, and the guy who's supposed to be on this side facing this way, he's actually facing this way. He's facing perpendicular to that. And that causes a lot of pain too, because it, you know, the weight distribution, again, there's not enough support on that side where it's supposed to be. So my pelvis is all screwed up. My body isn't shaped how it's supposed to be. My butt doesn't jut out like it's supposed to. I'm basically straight up and down in the back because I don't have the jut because my spine is so twisted and mangled, and I got all this other shit going on down there with the vertebrae and the spingy things and all that. Sitting down, you'd think would be comfortable, and it's not, because my butt doesn't jut out. It doesn't come out behind me like it's supposed to sit down. So when I'm sitting down, I'm basically sitting on my lower back, and it's impossible to push my butt back like where it's supposed to be because my bones are in the way. My bones literally prevent me from going at that angle because it just won't. The only thing that is actually, I hesitate to use the word comfortable because nothing is comfortable. Existing is uncomfortable. I can walk. I can walk perfectly fine. Walking is fine, even with the leg issue. Like, I'll get leg pain sometimes, but it's not like debilitating. I can walk. Like, I can walk around Universal Studios all damn day. I can walk around a grocery store. I could walk from here to Fargo. I can walk perfectly fine and it doesn't hurt and it's fine. Why? I don't know, but I know that that somehow is okay. Standing? No. If I stand for too long, I have to start kind of dancing, like between, you know, shifting my weight and stuff. That's probably why I started dancing so much, and that's why I've always sort of just been like a random dancer, because I have to shift the weight off of my feet. Like, I can't stand in one spot for that long or it hurts so bad. I eventually have to start pacing or walking in a circle or something. I have to keep moving. Bending is terrible. Just bending to like get something out of the fridge. I hate refrigerators. They're terrible. I don't know why people are like, yeah, let's make people like bend all the way down just to get the mustard out of the shit. I hate refrigerators. So just bending down to get the mustard, sometimes my back will spasm, like my lower back, and like twinge and like get stuck in this bended thing, and it's like really hard to straighten back up. And then if you add weight to that, like if I'm picking something up from a bend, forget about it. It's terrible because there's, you know, I don't have enough. Something about the weight distribution, I don't know. Because my body doesn't bend and jut out in the back to support my weight going forward like it's supposed to. It's just like I'm on my own when I'm bending, like my weight, you know, and then if I add weight to it, there's just so much strain on my lower back. Can't do anything about it. Laying down half the time isn't even comfortable. It's ridiculous. Sitting is not comfortable either because like I have to shift to get comfortable just because of the whole butt thing, and it's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. So this is what I live with. This is what I deal with. Never talk about it because who wants to whine, right? I just feel like I'm whining because I'm like, look, this is an everyday thing for me. You know, I hurt constantly and other things make it worse. And I don't want to bitch about it because it's not important. But the point that I'm getting at here is that I finally decided to face it in a way that I really should, because the last job that I had, the one that I left because it was toxic, it just hurt too much. It was too physical. I loved the job and I just tried to power through it and be like, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. I'm strong. I can do this. It was too painful. It hurt a lot, and it got to be too much to deal with. So on top of the toxic environment, you know, the physical thing, it was just too much. It was too much. So when I applied for this job, it's not necessarily similar, but obviously it's going to be a physical job too. Bending, lifting, you know, standing, all this. And I was like, I want to do the job. I like the job. It sounds great. I think I'd be great for it. But I'm terrified because of the physical stuff, because I don't want to be in that amount of pain anymore. So I looked it up, and technically scoliosis does qualify as a disability, and I never knew that before. Even if I had, I still don't think that I would have gone that route because I'm stubborn. I am very stubborn when it comes to admitting that something is wrong. I like to power through stuff. Like I sprained my wrist really bad one year. And a sprain is not what people think, like, oh, I twisted my ankle, and people mislabel that as a sprain. No, a sprain is basically like you broke your bone without breaking your bone. It's severe. It's a severe injury. So I sprained my wrist one year. I tried to stupidly get on a skateboard and promptly fell down and hit my wrist on the concrete. And it was terrible and it hurt so bad. So they put it in a cast. I was in a full cast from like my fingers down to the middle of my arm. And they said, don't play the piano. And at that time I played the piano to church. And I was like, don't play the piano. We'll see about that. Of course I played the piano. I did. And when I'm sick, I go to work. When I'm sick, I go to school. I did marching band practice with a 103-degree fever one time until the band director took one look at me and sent me home. I was like, no, I gotta play. So I'm really stubborn and I tend to power through stuff. It's not a good idea. I take after my dad. He was the same way. So with this, it took a lot out of me to finally admit, okay, look, you can't do this to yourself anymore. Okay, this is a condition. It's only going to keep getting worse. You're going to deteriorate it even faster if you keep trying to power through it like this. So I decided to, when the question came up in the application, you know, do you have any disabilities? I was like, yes. I checked the little yes box. Much to my chagrin, I did not like doing that. But then, you know, the medical people contacted me about it. And of course, by law, they have to accommodate, reasonable accommodation, ADA, yay. So this nurse called me and she asked me a bunch of questions about my symptoms and my condition and everything like that. So I have to get my chiropractor to sign off on it, which will be happening on Monday. I'd like to say that I'm pleased with myself and happy about it, that I'm doing the smart thing by helping myself not be in immense pain just for a job. But at the same time, it is still my pride, my stubbornness is taking a front seat a little bit to this. So, like, I didn't even tell you guys about this, you know, that's how much I didn't want to admit my condition of living in constant pain. I just didn't want to. I didn't, you know, I barely wanted to admit it to myself. I don't think JJ even knew most of this. He heard me talking to the nurse on the phone. I'm pretty sure he heard most of what I said for the first time about the certain things that I can and can't do, which is basically what I just laid out here. So I feel good about doing the right thing for my body and my health. I mean, I'm not getting any younger, but at the same time, it does feel weird. It feels weird. I mean, there's a stigma. I'm relatively young, you know, and I probably look younger than I am. A lot of people say that. So it's like, I feel weird about going in to this job looking and seeming able-bodied because I can walk just fine, but then having this disability accommodation, it makes me feel weird, you know? Like, I don't like admitting that I have some sort of weakness that needs accommodating. I know I need it, which is why I did it, but I'm still struggling with feeling okay with allowing myself that accommodation and admitting it and living it out in public. You know what I mean? It's always just sort of been a private struggle between me and me. It's not like nobody ever knew. I mean, Mom knows, of course, and she always asks me, like every day after I get home from work, she's like, how's your back? How's your back? I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's not fine. It was never fine. But I don't want to worry her, and I don't like to admit it. So that's what's going on. Do y'all also have spinal problems so that I don't feel so alone in this and feel weird about it? Because, yeah, and luckily the lady, the nurse I spoke to, she said that there's a lot of people in this field who have disabilities similar to mine and conditions similar to mine. In fact, there's a few that have it worse too. So that made me feel better. It made me feel like not such a special needs case, you know. I don't like feeling like a special needs case. If I'm signing up for a job, I want people to know that they can rely on me to do it 100% with all of my gumption that I have. And I just feel weird about needing special accommodation. I feel weird about it. Like, I want to be able to do it. I'm just wrestling with this right now. I'm wrestling with this, and maybe someday I'll feel good about it. At least I can feel good that I'm doing the right thing for my body. My mind is mad. My mind is mad about it, but what are you gonna do, right? There were a couple other things I wanted to talk about, but I didn't know that I was gonna yammer for that long about that. So we'll save those for another time. Thanks for listening to my tale of woe. I don't want pity. Please don't give me pity. I hate it. I hate pity. I hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. If you can identify with me and you have something similar going on, cool. I would love to hear that. I would love to know that I'm not like the only person I've ever met with scoliosis and back pain at such a young age. Because I mean, I've had back pain since I was a teenager. Like, what teenager complains about back pain? You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel right. Because people are like, well, you're young, you're healthy. I'm like, man, you don't know. You don't freaking know what it feels like to be me, okay? This shit hurts. So, I mean, if you can identify and like stuff like that, that's fine. I would love to hear stuff like that, but please, no pity. No pity, no pep talks. I can't stand that stuff. I just can't stand it. This is why I don't talk about stuff like this. Yeah, leave me your thoughts, feelings, comments below. I don't know what good this video would have done anybody, I guess, but maybe it helped somebody somewhere. I hope, maybe, cool. Read this book. It's a good book. I'm hiding behind this book because I feel weird about just admitting all of that to you guys. Yes, as always, watch out for the sheep. And vlog phrase of the day is, Watson is a sweet little bear. And she's coming to see me again right now. Aww. So Watson is a sweet little bear. That's the vlog phrase of the day. So thanks for hanging out again. I love you guys so much and I appreciate you. And I will see you guys next time. Okay, bye.